The Brown family dynasty has never lacked for drama, surprises, and mind-blowing plot twists, but this latest revelation may be the biggest bombshell of all. After all the years of complicated relationships, tension, and rampant media speculation, Kody Brown, patriarch of the Sister Wives clan, has allegedly done the one thing that has left fans stunned. Sources say that Kody has offered Robyn, his fourth wife, a divorce. And even more astonishing, Kody wants her to reunite with his first wife, Christine. First of all, that sounds like the sort of stuff that happens in a reality TV drama. However, for those who have been with the Brown family for so long, it's surprising, yes, and in some aspects, not so surprising. We have known that Kody was never the sort of man who was shy about a bold and, as of late, sometimes contentious decision. His love for Christine was no secret either. However, asking Robyn to essentially blot out her life with him in order to go back in the past, that goes too far even for the Browns. The shock of such a realization comes on two different fronts. On one hand, it emphasizes Kody's propensity to put history, his nostalgia, and his vision of the perfect family before the sentiments and welfare of his current significant others. On another hand, such a scenario puts Robyn in a position that no wife should find herself in, that of choosing between love and self-respect. The fans on social media went into a frenzy with the responses pouring in immediately. The fans could not believe Kody even suggested something so outrageous. The fans of Robyn were fuming, claiming the demand was unfair and unrealistic, and speculating Kody might be swept up in a whirlwind of nostalgia and unresolved feelings. One thing's for sure, this whole scenario has brought about a whole lot of debate on the ethics of polygamy, emotional manipulation, and the likes. How did we get here? To grasp this overwhelming situation, we must take into consideration the complex relationships existing in the Brown family. The relationship between Kody and Christine has a long history. They could be termed as someone with shared years of marriage and co-parenting their children, and innumerable family experiences together. Christine is and has always been an integral part of the family, not only as Kody's first wife, but also as someone who has had an influence on family dynamics and settings set by her. This relationship between Kody and Christine is one of its kind, and it appears as though, even after all those years of emotional separation, Christine still has some corner in Kody's heart. Then came Robyn, who married into this family. Right from the start, Robyn had to deal with being part of a family whose dynamics had been in place for decades. Unlike Christine, who became part of this family as a member, and not as someone who is part of an existing family in some kind of way. Robyn is now part of this family, and is also forging out her own place in society as a wife and as a mother. Despite her unswerving loyalty, Robyn finds herself walking a tightrope. There have been innuendos about tension, envy, and emotional struggles. Robyn's feelings about Kody have never been more transparent, but the issue of whether he truly feels the same way about her, and whether he is still connected with Christine, has hung over her. His latest proposition that Robyn needs to divorce Kody puts the question front and center in the most extreme fashion. Picture this, readers. Imagine being Robyn in this situation. Robyn has spent so many years building up her life and raising kids and dedicated to her family to the fullest. Then, she is presented with this challenge in the form of this divorce. It's more than a divorce. It's a change in her life, emotionally as well as a public ordeal and personal letdown rolled into one. It's the weight of this choice that is so significant in itself, and further intensified by the added pressure from the limelight of the public spotlight. It is going to be the biggest test that Robyn has to withstand in this situation. According to insiders, Kody's decision is not the result of a passing fancy. It seems that there is a complex set of emotions, a combination of nostalgia, unrequited emotions, or an effort to rebalance the family equation within Kody's psyche that have led Kody to make this choice. Kody Brown has always had a personal agenda related to polygamy, family relationships, or even expectations that do not necessarily meet the norms. He has a way of understanding relationships that work in a way that pleases Kody. Even if the result is the sacrifice of one of the wives' happiness, the solution might be to bring Christine Brown back into the mainstream, essentially a return to the way things were. However, this approach is highly contentious. Critics feel that this approach to emotional manipulation by Kody is a bad idea. Asking someone to leave the life that they have established is not only impractical, it is also emotionally draining to the individual who must undertake it. In fact, viewers are currently speculating about whether or not the decisions of Kody are based on his love for his family or his ego to live in the past. The comments pouring in are quite vehement. The various social media sites are filled with guesses and comments. There are fans showing sympathy with Kody Brown, thinking that maybe though his approach be very different, his motive could be love and keeping his family bound together. More people seem to be supporting Robyn Brown all the way, pointing out how she should be free to live her life the way she wants and deserves to be treated with respect. Amongst the members of their own family, there appears to be some level of mixed reactions. Christine, who has been perceived as one of the spouses that shares a strong bond with Kody, might end up being torn apart by the notion of Robyn letting go. On the other hand, the rest of the spouses in the Brown family would obviously be watching these developments. This might be a moment of transformation for Robyn too. She has had her struggles throughout her life, and this particular choice of either remaining or parting ways with Kody, or understanding and conceptualizing her own relationship with Kody, is one that has tremendous significance for her as an individual and as Robyn, the sister wife in their family. The pressure is almost unimaginable, and her past struggles tell her that she might tackle this period too with great consideration and grit. As fans are trying to process this incredible new revelation, one thing is for sure: the Brown family saga will not end anytime soon. Kody has made a bold new chapter in this complicated story, and it will surely lead fans down a path of comedy, tragedy, or possibly something neither. Only time will tell. For many years, the dynamic between Kody's wives has been one of the most popular aspects of the TV show Sister Wives. Christine, the first wife, has a lasting place in this family, which has been created after many years of shared experiences, trials, and triumphs, as well as offspring. Robyn, wife number 4, joined the clan somewhat later in the series. Her plight is a complicated one, as she must assimilate herself into an existing household, while at the same time maintaining an independent bearing. However, one of the most obvious conflicts in this arrangement is that between Robyn and Christine. If the present drama is to be comprehended, the past has to be understood. Christine Brown has, since the beginning, been Kody's first love, the pillar of the Brown family. Right from the early days of their relationship, she has been an integral part of the family's important decisions, as well as the ones they make for the outside world. It is her voice that has, many a time, been given the most importance, along with the views that hold prime importance in family decisions. The reason for Christine Brown's status in the family is not based on seniority, but on the emotional connect that exists between Kody Brown, the children, and herself. Robyn's situation, on the other hand, has been entirely different. To bring a new wife into a family with such set patterns of behavior is never easy. Robyn entered the Brown family as a newcomer who had to be accepted by the other wives. But acceptance doesn't come without its troubles. Right from the word go, Robyn had to face some kind of judgment, skepticism, and tacit opposition. Her every step was scrutinized, not just by the family but also by the whole world watching her with interest. Despite all the struggles, Robyn devoted herself entirely to the family. She stood by Kody through thick and thin, including his struggles with finances, health, and the media. She also poured her heart and soul into the children, participating actively in raising and educating them, even in aspects where other wives had been involved. Robyn's commitment was undeterred, even when it meant sacrificing her convenience and her well-being. However, despite all this, the tension between her and Christine has never completely faded away. This is because there has been an observable rivalry between them behind the scenes that has even made its way into some awkward episodes of the show. The tension in the family has made them appear to be together as one family. However, this competition for Kody's attention has always lingered in the background and has come to light with this recent development. The idea that Robyn needs to leave Kody in order to make way for Christine is more than just shocking news. It's the catalyst that pushes the existing conflict to the forefront. It's personal and emotional validation that Robyn has placed into this relationship, and it's quite obvious from the outset that she's being asked to move to the back of the line. It has nothing to do with space and organizational seating. It has to do with power and emotional validation. Robyn realizes that she's being asked to assess her value to Kody. On the other hand, the situation is complex for Christine too. While it may be true that she has always had the same level of strong connection or feeling with Kody, being told that she has to re-enter the family dynamic may bring up a variety of emotions, some good and some not so good. The fact that Robyn's departure is something that cannot be taken lightheartedly is something that this situation brings home. The reaction of Christine, although not disclosed, can be expected to be a combination of curiosity, apprehension, or even discomfort. The marital tension is also escalated by the children in the family. The children have connections with more than one mother. This might lead to drastic effects due to changes in relationships among them. What will happen to the young children in the family in regard to adjusting to Robyn's departure? What will happen to those who have formed strong connections with her? What will happen to those who have remembered the earlier times when Christine was more paramount in their lives? Public perception also plays a major part in all this. Facebook and Instagram, among other social platforms, end up filled with opinions, theories, and heated arguments, while the camp of Robyn is always vocal about the outrage they feel over Kody's idea of a possible connection with her. They always bring up her happiness and her need for a stable life. The camp of Christine, on the other hand, might claim that she, of all people, deserves the spotlight she used to get in the Brown family. It's all a reminder that the Brown family, by no means, has been a private one, but a publicly scrutinized one. Another element that contributes to the tension is the element of favoritism that has historically been present. Throughout the years, there has been the perception that Kody has always been giving more priority to Christine's needs and feelings than to the other wives, though he was only being equitable by loving multiple wives. His favoritism has led to resentment and feelings of uncertainty. Robyn, despite being the more level-headed wife, does not also exclude herself from these feelings. The fact that she has been asked to divorce, and that she actually has to divorce, makes these feelings even more apparent. What's ironic here is that the dynamics of family and decision-making presented by Kody have been quite unorthodox throughout. As opposed to normal families, where one partner's needs are considered in decision-making, it takes finesse combined with effective communication in polygamous families. On the one hand, one could state that the method they've employed in decision-making could be deemed irregular or even idealistic at times, even though he's acting in what he thinks is the best interests of the family. He needs to understand that every decision he makes impacts all of the members in various ways. The complexity of Robyn's internal conflict is especially wrenching to watch. Between her love for Kody and her need to meet her own emotional demands, which takes primacy? The need to hold the family together, or her own need to be happy? This struggle to balance her emotional demands versus Kody's demands must resonate with millions of viewers who are just as torn in their own personal struggles to decide between love and self-preservation. Moreover, this creates a set of questions about polygamy as a practice. Is such a relationship sustainable when emotional compromise needs to be had by all partners? Is it even possible to have multiple partners while not creating conflict and breaking hearts at the same time? In this respect, the Brown family may be atypical, but the dynamics surrounding non-conventional family structures are certainly universal. The truth is that the struggle between Christine and Robyn has nothing to do with Kody. The struggle between the two women relates to identity and the sense of belonging as well. The fact is that both women have their own history and opinions. The request to give way to the other isn't just an easy decision. It's an earthquake that disturbs the very base of their lives. The audience that is witness to the happening scene feels the gravity of the moment. As the story continues, one thing is for sure: the conflict between the wives is almost at the boiling point. Robyn's strength is going to be challenged as never before, and Christine's place in the family might very well shift. The tension is at an all-time high, and viewers are eating it up. Every move, every gesture is picked apart and dissected by fans. And as a result, the Brown family saga is one of the greatest stories ever told in the genre of reality TV shows. The ongoing saga brings back memories of the fact that love, loyalty, and families are never straightforward. The dynamic between the wives in the Brown family is representative of the complexity of being human, being emotionally exposed, and the struggle that comes with keeping the relationship intact, despite the unordinary circumstances that surround them. And all this with the precipitous decision made by Kody, which looms over them. Kody Brown, the father of the family from sister wives, has long been an object of curiosity for audiences. The way he goes against the grain in marriage, his commitment to polygamy, and his efforts to deal with the feelings of 4 women have made him an indispensable part of one of the most popular families from reality TV shows. However, with the most recent development that Kody has apparently asked Robyn for a divorce so that Christine can marry him, questions are being raised about Kody's intentions too. If we want to comprehend Kody's thought process, let's look into his personal history with Christine. Since Christine is the first wife of Kody, there is a lot of historical significance attached to their relationship, both emotionally as well as in terms of their shared past. Since their relationship with Kody is a lot more than the ordinary relationship that a wife has with a husband, let's find out why. For Kody, his relationship with Christine symbolizes the life that Kody once chose. Robyn, on the other hand, while loyal and loving, married into the family somewhat later, and has always been secondary to Christine. Robyn faces the challenge of living with a man who loved someone else first. This comparison is inevitable. Christine signifies the past, while Robyn signifies the new chapter in Kody's life. Perhaps the notion of Robyn moving aside may have something to do with Kody's longing to fall back into the comfortable rut of the family he recalls, where Christine was at the center. According to insiders, Kody's move is affected by his nostalgia feelings and wish to regain what he feels is required to create balance in his family. Kody frequently expresses his wish to see his family members come together as one, as he loves harmony between all his wives. But critics feel Kody's wishes are not objective. Rather, they prioritize Kody's happiness over his wife's happiness. Kody's order to Robyn to divorce his other wives might solve one problem for Kody, but causes more drama in this family. There could be an additional reason for Kody's recommendation related to his fight with public image. The Brown family members have faced public scrutiny for several years now. The audience members of this reality show have analyzed each and every aspect of their interactions, relations, and decisions in this household. There might be some pressure from Kody to correct those problems or to repair those traditional relations that the audience members feel are anticipated, especially his relations with Christine. There could be some additional reason behind his decisions that are not necessarily emotional decisions only. However, this theory has many flaws, although Kody might find this decision pragmatic or even imperative. He disregards Robyn's feelings completely. Robyn being asked to give up her entire life, marriage, as well as her emotional connections for the sake of Christine is not only controversial, it could also cause some harm. Divorce in itself can be an emotionally draining experience, especially when, as in Robyn's case, one is asked to do the same. Kody's purposes could equally stem from his personal issues. Over the years, fans have observed that Kody could often struggle with the amount of attention and love that he gives each of the wives. Kody has always had a preference for Christine, though it isn't always overt. This may stem from the fact that he needs a form of reassurance of his own. Perhaps bringing Christine back into the fold gives Kody a way of reconnecting with the person he has spent the most time with. However, a pertinent question arising from this situation is whether Kody considers love or nostalgia. Many analysts say that Robyn needs to be asked to step back not because of love, but to satisfy a longing to go back in the past. Perhaps Kody wants to relive some of his moments of security and comfort experienced with Christine. The fact of the matter is that time has already passed, and Robyn is a part of the family. Ironically, Kody has been known to portray himself as a mediator among his wives. He asserts that he considers the feelings of the involved party, pushing for equal treatment. However, his deeds do not portray the same. The thought of a divorce among the couples suggests that perhaps Kody has some difficulties resolving his problems while prioritizing the emotional well-being of all his wives. His key concentration seems to be on resolving his internal conflicts. Fans on the internet have been quick to weigh in on what Kody's motives might be. While there are those who seem to understand and feel sorry for Kody, it seems as if others are less than understanding. They believe that Kody is being selfish and that he is putting his own nostalgia before Robyn's well-being. The conflict that is being portrayed in the Browns family has been reflected in the response that the situation has received from the fans watching the program. The complex reasons behind Kody's actions bring up other issues regarding the challenges of polygamy. Managing multiple wives isn't an easy task, and it requires constant communication, negotiations, and compromises. While Kody's idea of utopia, where all wives can coexist peacefully, may sound good in theory, it may not be very effective in practice. Kody's idea of Robyn divorcing him may be the only way to simplify the situation, but it is at the expense of her emotional stability. Furthermore, the consequence of these events also affects Robyn emotionally. Robyn has dedicated herself to Kody and the family for such a long time. It's not only her marriage that's under threat, but also the identity she has in the family. The demand for Robyn to step aside forces her to realize that maybe her own happiness just isn't important in the decision-making process that Kody makes in life. The children must also be factored in. The role of Robyn in the family is not just as Kody's wife. It is also as a mother. The children, whom she has co-raised, will be affected in this scenario, and their emotional needs will be taken into account as Kody tries to take care of his emotional needs with Christine. The emotional and psychological needs of the children could be ignored in this scenario. Despite the drama that surrounds Kody's actions, there might be some truthful emotion that drives his motives. He has a way of explaining how his family is a unit that needs to be constantly engaged and compromised with and negotiated with in order for harmony to be accomplished. The belief that he could return his wife to a position of being the center of attention in an effort to create harmony might be a complex emotion that he is dealing with. The error in his ideas is that harmony should never be created at the expense of the happiness of an individual. The scenario also illustrates Kody's need for control. Over the years, his need for control has been noticed by his fans, who recognize the fact that he usually tries to control the family dynamics in a manner he thinks is best. This can lead him to make some wise moves for mediation, but in the process, he may also make moves that appear manipulative and self-centered. The move for a divorce by Robyn may also represent his need for control, through which he tries to control the family in a manner he thinks best. Ultimately, the reasons behind Kody's actions are nostalgia, need, public perception, and his need to maintain control. As much as his reasons and feelings seem to be intricate and complex, the effect that comes with them is clear. Robyn finds herself in a no-win situation. The moral and emotional implications of being placed in such a situation are of significance, and the whole family has reacted to the ripple effect. As the drama plays out for the fans watching, there's no doubt that Kody's reasons are very complicated, and many of them relate to his feelings of love and loyalty as he struggles with being part of a polygamous family. This installment in the Brown dynasty drama is a powerful reminder that the best of intentions can lead to unforeseen outcomes. It continues. So many powerful forces in life come into play here: love, history, and familial obligation. And when those are mixed together and added to nostalgia and selfish desire, it's enough to create the perfect storm of conflict, confusion, and tragedy. And right in the middle of this perfect storm are the conflicted agendas of Sister Wives star Kody Brown. And the question everyone has, including the whole Brown family and the rest of the world, is he doing what's best for the family or what's best for himself? Robyn Brown has always been made out to be the loving and understanding wife of the Sister Wives family. Right from the time she stepped into Kody's household with other wives with so many years of bonding with Kody, Robyn knew she had a challenge before her that no ordinary human being can imagine. Taking on a family with other wives who had so many years of bonding with Kody would be pretty daunting. But Robyn was ready to face the challenge head-on. Robyn has up until now handled the emotional landmine of polygynous marriages with incredible elegance. She has been there through times of money troubles, family feuds, and even public scrutiny. She has brought up kids who look up to her as a mom and mentor, while all the while staying committed to Kody. However, even for the strongest among us, there comes a point that will push us to our limit. And this latest news, that Kody wants Robyn to divorce him for Christine, promises to push Robyn to that point. For a stranger watching, it may appear to be a startling, almost unbelievable demand. Yet for Robyn, it is a deeply subjective experience. She is being asked not to simply move on from being a partner to Kody, but to wipe away several years of her life, her love, her sacrifice. This is a very conflicted emotional state that Robyn is in, full of heartbreak, perplexity, and the agony of impossible choices. How, one may ask, can one live with a partner while realizing that perhaps their happiness is not a fundamental need? Robyn's path has been far from easy. When Robyn merged with the Brown family, she introduced herself into a pre-existing structure in which Christine, Mary, and Janelle had established their place. Robyn had no choice but to learn, grow, and find her place in this new setting. Each move she made would be. Over the years, the sense of her own identity within the family has only increased. She has demonstrated that she can be a caring mother, a loyal partner, and a faithful member of the family. However, despite all that she brings, the specter of Christine has always been present. Christine is Kody's first wife, the mother of some of Kody's children, and a woman who has shared a multitude of memories over the span of decades. It is truly profound for Robyn. The reality of walking away from Kody is so much more than simply walking away from a marriage. It is walking away from the life that she has made and continues to build, and the children whom she has raised and cared for. Each and every day is a delicate balancing act, as she tries to balance her love of Kody and her love of herself. But this internal battle is also compounded by the media spotlight that comes with having millions of viewers tuned in to follow Robyn's life for years. The show airs her smile, her tears, her words, and her body language for millions to judge and interpret. Fans will readily take sides, putting an added pressure that could increase her struggles emotionally. In her struggle to decide, it is easy to forget that her decision will affect her and her lover, her husbands, her kids, and will provide her with an entirely different place in the Brown family dynamic from then on. Another lesson that can be derived from the emotional journey of Robyn is the difficulties that are encountered in the amalgamation of love and personal boundaries. As a person who has been perpetually ready for compromise and ready for adjustment in being able to navigate the intricacies of polygamy in the name of family harmony, compromise is now being asked to border on the line of sacrifice, and that should not be crossed so casually. Insiders claim that Robyn is grappling with a maelstrom of emotions: pain, confusion, betrayal, and sadness, but also a sense of determination. Robyn gets forced into asking herself very tough questions, the kind of questions that don't have simple answers, but also the kind of questions that define the entire ordeal Robyn has been through. A component of Robyn's struggle is the recalibration of what she thinks of as love and what she wants out of this marriage. Robyn had come into this family thinking about what it meant to be partners, showing mutual respect and sharing the duties. She could be in support of Kody and keep the peace, but she wanted her emotions and efforts considered as well. The idea of divorcing Kody puts Robyn's expectations directly at odds with what Kody may want. Robyn's experience represents not only heartbreak, but also strength. Over the years, Robyn has had to deal with criticism, loneliness, and mental strain, but has each time overcome these obstacles. Robyn has had to learn how to deal with difficult family situations and how to protect her children's interests. This attribute will help Robyn immensely in the next few days as she decides what she wants to happen with Kody's provocative demand. It's crucial to look at the emotional aspect of this kind of decision, particularly when Robyn's role as a mother is at issue. Every child needs stability, consistency, and affection. Robbie's arrival and continued stay within this family have brought all three. To ask her to leave does not only have emotional impact, but enormous consequence with respect to the kids she has brought up. How can you explain the possibility of having to leave to the child, since the reason for leaving will not be within the child's control? The audience and fans empathize with Robyn, as her story is universal in many ways. Even if the audience or fans might not know people or someone personally who is or has been part of the polygamy culture, they definitely understand the pain of being made to feel less valued, the difficulty of setting one's own boundaries, and the conflict that comes with the coexistence of love and respect for one's own identity. Robyn's own emotional struggles reflect the complexity of human relationship as well. Love is never that easy in real life, particularly when it's caught up in the midst of historic events, commitment, and the realities of family relationships. Robyn's own plight reveals the fine line that has to be drawn between sacrifice and self-preservation, as she is required to make tough decisions in the interests of saving her own emotional integrity. While the story continues, Robyn is left with a future that is unclear. Whether or not she will follow Kody's wishes regarding their family history, or if instead she will stand up for herself, take control of her own life, and make the Brown family acknowledge who she is, will shape not only their relationship, but the whole Brown family. Although there is pain in this story, there is also hope in terms of what happens in Robyn's story. It appears that Robyn is strong enough to make decisions about Kody and about herself in a way that will pay respect to Kody as well as to herself as an individual. The story of Robyn is an inspiration in terms of personal strength, boundaries, and confronting the impossible. Alessi's story reminds us that love can be powerful, but also that the strength of personal respect can sometimes be even more profound. This installment of the Brown family dynasty is much more than the struggles of reality TV. It's a true story of dedication, strength, and the struggle to bring balance into a life that has a multitude of priorities. Robyn's struggle to cope interests the audience because it's true for all of them. The struggle to keep relationships, the hurt that comes with being undervalued, and the strength it takes to stand up for oneself. As the audience observes Robyn dealing with such an uncommon plight, one remembers that strength of emotion does not mean being free from struggles, but instead being capable of enduring these with grace and strength. Robyn's struggles are yet not over, but one thing remains clear. The choice she makes will not just shape the destiny of Robyn, but of the Brown family in its entirety. Levels of drama in the Brown family reach new heights. Kody's supposed advice for Robyn to divorce him so that he can marry Christine has left not only the family in shock. However, as millions of fans from all over the globe keep track of all that goes on. And as we begin this new journey, one of the most obvious questions that come up relates to the possible future of Kody, Robyn, Christine, and the remainder of the members of the Brown family. And in order to understand what the likely outcomes might be, it's necessary to look at the complex web of relationships that exist within the Brown family. They are not your typical family. They are living in a polygamous relationship. That means there is always negotiation and compromise to be had. Every wife has had a different relationship and separate life with Kody, and has different psychological needs. For Kody, the struggle is in finding a balance between his former life and his current situation. For Kody, a woman who offers him a deeper connection and a lifetime of shared moments is represented by Christine. She has always been at the forefront of everything, either emotionally or representationally. On the other hand, Robyn offers Kody a lifetime of shared moments to come because she brings him offspring who have taken care of him and contributed to the stability of the household. For Kody, this dilemma indicates his struggle to find a way to balance his former with his current. Robyn's situation is also crucial. She is faced with a crossroads where she has to choose between her loyalty and love for Kody and her own well-being. Whatever decision she makes has far-reaching implications, which not only affect her, but also the children, the other wives, as well as the public perception of the Brown family. Staying might make her continue to feel undervalued, whereas leaving might start the ripple effect that might change the dynamics of relationships within the family. Even Christine has an uncertain future ahead of her. Though Kody might long for those past times, it is not the same for Christine either. She too has undergone changes in her life and relationships over the years, and might not be the same Christine as the family knew in those early years, if she is brought back into the limelight again. Christine's reaction to Kody's proposal is bound to affect the future of the family and their ongoing disunity among themselves. The kids may be the most affected by the events that are currently unfolding. They have all grown up in a rather complicated family setup, with several moms and a fluctuating system of alliances and emotional dynamics. Whatever the coming events may bring, whether it's the leaving of Robyn or the return of Christine, this will all impact the kids' perception of security, continuity, and identity. The kids need a stable and continuous system, and a drastic change in parental roles can bring about stress and emotional distress for the kids, Kody, Robyn, and even Christine. The media attention creates an extra layer of stress. The Brown family has been under the spotlight for years, with the fans analyzing every utterance, movement, and choice. Social media sites are filled with theories, gripes, and possibilities. Those in support of Robyn suggest that she and her happiness are the main concern. Those for Christine point out that she has great importance in history and ties to Kody. The family is dealing with family dynamics and simultaneously participating in a dramatic presentation for the viewing pleasure of millions of viewers. Financial and practical matters are also at play. Kody has come under fire for not being able to stabilize the various families that he has. The dynamics of this family when it comes to living situation, expenses, and duties are complicated. Any big transition, like Robyn leaving or a shift in the dynamics at home, could make this even harder. These issues compound the uncertainty that exists in the future of the family. The far-reaching effects of Kody's suggestion will dramatically play out in the long run. Should Kody send Robyn away if she is not ready to turn over yet? This might create an avenue for future confrontations, as this might establish a norm where the happiness of one wife is placed second to another. On the other hand, should this new wife decide to take a stand and refuse to step away when Kody calls for change, this might change Kody's way of running the family, as he will learn to come to terms with the fact that not everything goes as expected. Even the fans are speculating about the possible outcome. Some think that Kody might change his mind, finally understanding the emotional damage that can occur from this, as well as the ramifications that the family might face. Others think that the difference might bring about a whole new structure for the family, different from the way they can ever imagine. One thing is for sure, though: the Brown family is at a crossroads. The choices they make here will be felt for years to come. This scenario also highlights issues surrounding polygamy and family relationships. Is it possible for multiple marriages to coexist without causing one of the partners to be made to feel less significant or undervalued in terms of their relationships and emotional needs in this family dynamic that goes against conventional values and settings? The Brown situation is one such real-life example that presents both possibilities and pitfalls. From a psychological point of view, the conflict in the family could be said to stem from the needs and desires that are pitted against each other. The love that Kody feels for Christine is the expression of a longing for the past and the nostalgia that comes with it, whereas the demands for respect from Robyn represent the value of self-respect. The level of public engagement has been nothing less than fervent. On social media, discussions have ranged from anger and empathy, with fans passionately arguing over who might be right or wrong. Many fans are deeply invested in Robyn, commending her strength and emotional resilience. Others have been dissecting the possible motivations behind Kody's behavior, concluding that while his behavior might be misguided, he does not have ill intentions. This says something about the level of fan engagement with the Brown family. Looking forward, there are a number of possible outcomes. Robyn could choose to assert herself and define herself and her role within the family, or even choose to remove herself from the family. Christine could find herself being more involved and possibly reigniting the emotional connection that she and Kody once had. Kody would be faced with the reality of his actions, seeing that being the husband of 4 wives and maintaining that family isn't based solely on nostalgia and wants. In the end, it will be communication, truth, and emotional intelligence that will decide the outcome of the Brown family dynamic. The choices that will be made in the next few months will affect not only the dynamic of the household, but the emotional needs of the members as well. This is a trial of resilience, love, and complexity as it applies to past and present situations. As television viewers, we are treated to this ongoing reality show that not only fascinates, but also presents interesting questions. The Brown family's experience presents insights into how it is quite challenging to sustain an element of symmetry in a polygamous family. It also highlights the complexities of romantic relationships and the influence and effects of choices made on each member of the family. As the Brown family approaches this crucial moment, here's the one truth that is sure. The next chapter will be full of pain, strength, and surprises, and the global fans will be watching every step of the way. The Brown saga continues to fascinate viewers because it contains universal truths. Relationships are always complex, commitment is challenged, and even families can be a source of strength as well as dysfunction. The future of Kody, Robyn, Christine, and the rest of the clan is up in the air, and this very lack of certainty is what keeps viewers hooked and engaged with the show. Whatever may come their way, one thing is certain in regard to the Brown family saga. Relationships are never simply black and white. Feelings are raw and intense, and the ripple effects of choices, especially those made with love, history, and loyalty in mind, can echo through years to come. The Brown family saga is nowhere near its conclusion, and viewers are aware that another turn could be lurking just over the horizon, waiting to shock and awe once again. Ultimately, the future of the Brown family isn't only about who will remain and who will depart. It's about the process of learning to grow with the ever-evolving dynamic between the needs of each family member, finding this delicate equilibrium between the desire to be in love, to be happy, and to be a family. And each and every member of this family, no less than Kody, Robyn, no less than Christine and the children, will be active participants in the unfolding story. And so too will we, the fans.